those are the three main mistakes that people make when they're practicing swordsmanship. We don't want to make those mistakes, right? What we want to do is practice correctly. As you guys know, anyone who just pulls a sword from the scabbard, that's bad, right? And the one reason for that, anytime you see people, and it's all over YouTube, you know what I mean? And we've talked about this, but I'm just going to kind of reiterate the thing. When you see someone grab a sword and they just pull it out, what happens is the edge of the sword rubs against the opening of the saya. So if I just grab the sword and I pull the sword out, I'm dulling my sword because it's going to have upward pressure on the saya. The way that you draw, so anytime you see someone just do this, even if it's fast, quick, or flashy, they're not properly trained. They're not formally trained in swordsmanship, okay? Next thing that you'll see is people take their swords and when they put them away, they'll go click. They just really fast click, they'll slap it in there. That's another red flag that they're not formally trained. The kogochi, which is the opening of the saya, is supposed to fit the habaki, and it fits securely. So when people keep doing this, you're actually hurting the saya, and no one would ever do that. So when you do put the sword back, you want to make sure that you're putting downward pressure, extending the saya. So again, you're not rubbing on the edge, and when your thumb gets to the suba, you would then pull it in to where the suba to saya, and you'd press that in tight so it has a tight fit, and then pull the saya back into your obi. We're going to be running a drill to just kind of reiterate the basics. Again, I know you guys have been with me for years. You guys know how to properly draw the Japanese sword, but let's just get you guys warmed up. So again, going through the steps of the process, I'm going to open or release the sword from the scabbard by turning the suba, and we're going to turn it at a 45-degree angle. As I do this, I'm also going to extend the saya the length of my arm. So that should be in one motion. So again, if I'm here, I'm going to unlock and extend all in one motion, right? Unlock and extend. Now as I do that, unlock and extend, I'm going to step up on my right foot. Okay, just for this drill that we're doing here. So I'm going to turn the suba over, turn the saya to 45, and I'm going to extend. My right hand's going to be grabbing the suka. The reason we're turning it over so our hand can go flat on the handle here, the suka. Now from there I'm going to draw the scabbard back. We're drawing the scabbard back because again we want to put downward pressure on the saya so that the edge of the blade does not hit the top of the saya or the kogochi. So I'm pulling back so the edge does not touch, and then I'm going to come into position, whatever kamae or cut that we tend to practice. You would practice drawing in a variety of different ways, variety of different cuts, going to a variety of different kamae. Now when we're going to be putting the sword away, remember when the suba gets to this side of the middle meridian, it never comes back. And again, this is something that you'll see that a lot of people make mistakes in swordsmanship. So what they'll do is they'll pull across, and notice they're going to put the suba, they've crossed this side of the middle meridian, but now they're going to take it back this way, like this. And then they're going to go like that. That's really bad. Now the reason that's bad is because the weakest part for a swordsman is when you're putting the sword away. If I put my sword like this and then I'm ambushed, I have no way of fighting back. But if I take the sword across and I keep the suba in front of me on this side now that I passed the middle meridian, if I'm here and then someone tries to attack me, I can still get back into a fighting position, even if I'm ambushed. So you don't want to have this, once the suba crosses this side of the middle meridian, it never crosses back. So I would say the three big mistakes, right? The three mistakes that you do not want to make if you're practicing classical Japanese swordsmanship, right? Mistake number one, you absolutely do not want to pull the sword from the scabbard. When you do that, you're clearly not trained, and you're rubbing the ha, or the edge of the sword, up against the kogochi, and you're just taking away its effectiveness as a weapon, right? There's number one. Number two, you'll see people when they do put the sword away, they click their sword back, and that's just open, that's hurting the saya against the habaki, hitting the saya, and by clicking it back, that also shows that you're not formally trained. And the third mistake that you see people do when they are trying to perform no-to to get the blade back into the saya, when the suba crosses the middle meridian, instead of keeping it to that one side to put it away, what they'll end up doing is they'll bring it here and they'll cross back. And they start fingering around, and then if they were a surprise attack, they wouldn't be able to fight themselves. So those are the three main mistakes that people make when they're practicing swordsmanship. We don't want to make those mistakes, right? What we want to do is practice correctly. So to do this correctly, what we want to do is we want to make sure that you're going to turn the suba over to flatten out, to give you the flat part of the suka so your hand can fit on there correctly. I want to extend the saya as I do this so that when I draw the saya back, I'm putting downward pressure on the blade and I'm not hurting the edge as I draw and come through. Now from there, let's just say we're from here, we go to chudan, we make whatever cut we're doing. But when we do noto, when we're going to put the blade back into its place of peace, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn. Once the suba gets to this side, I'm going to slide down here. I'm going to put it all the way through. I'm going to downward pressure thumb, put it in, slide into position, and then back. What we are not going to do, we are not going to come here and then bring the suba back across the body again, because on a surprise attack we wouldn't be able to fight. Real quick, I'll give you guys a demonstration here and there, a couple angles at it. So the drill you guys are going to work, you don't have to go fast, just get reps. It's going to be from here, here, go to kamae, put it away, and then back into position, right? So here, I'm going to unlock, here, kamae, into position. Now when you're doing your noto, it's important that you should be able to draw and put it away without looking. So if I'm looking right at the camera, I should be able to draw and then put it away without looking. So many people are fingering around the blade, looking around, well, they haven't trained enough. You should be able to draw, put it away without looking. That way you know your weapon. You've trained with the weapon. Another thing that I think is really important aspect is when you're drawing and putting things away, watch this. When I'm here, when I make my draw, I'm going to pull, come all the way through. I'm in here. When I go to noto, it's important that when I come down and I put through, I'm going to slide up till the thumb comes here and then bring it back. We don't want to slam, but it's not so much here and then just stick it in there. You want to have control over the whole thing. Now, when you're doing noto, it's important that your hand comes over like this. The reason we have it like this is so you can feel. So when I come across, I know that as soon as it drops to my first finger, I just slide up. You don't want to have your saya out more than the hand because then you don't have control. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The drill that we're going to be working is going to be 1, here, here, and then down. All right? They're good.